Wandela was protective. At the same time, she wanted the best for Tapion. She wanted him to thrive. So she informed him that she would be enrolling him in an education program for wizardry. Tapion was intrigued by the concept, so he arrived in the program. But as the weeks and months went by, he began to find himself increasingly dissatisfied with the program. It was rigid and strict. He had hoped to learn about the practical and physical application of real magic, but so much of it was theory and preparation. And there was something deeper than that. The fundamental way they were educating and teaching people, it was all wrong. It was all based on information and memorization and telling people what to do. This isn't how learning happens. This isn't how creativity works. I don't trust them, Tapion thought. All this is supposed to make me believe that years, maybe decades down the road, I will become a great wizard. But if their method of teaching is this far off, far from practical application, far from truth, what do I have to gain by becoming subservient to these people? Over the coming weeks, it became increasingly difficult for Tapion to hide his boredom and frustration. He wasn't submitting his essays and articles. Because of this, there was talk, and they believed that Tapion was less intelligent than the other classmates. So they separated him. Without even giving him a choice, they forced him to attend a much smaller class where the information had been ultra-simplified, so even the most ignorant person could understand. This alienated Tapion from his other classmates, and now he truly doubted the intentions and the intelligence of everyone working for this establishment. This wizardry education program was the one good thing Wandela had done for Tapion, and it turned out to not be a good thing at all. They refused to let Tapion return to the original classes unless he would continue to submit his essays over the next years and demonstrate that he was worthy of those classes. There was no end to it. There was nothing in it for him to gain. Being here was taking many hours of his day. He could be spending adventuring and meeting people and learning from the library. He began skipping out on classes and just feeling utterly and all around disrespected by everyone there. Tapion was separated from his primary class. It seemed to him that they were having fun from time to time. He did not agree with the strict methods of the education system, but he wanted to be around his peers, his fellow classmates, the children his age. Being held back and restricted to this other class made things even more difficult than they already were. Now he was working his ass off to get back to a place he wasn't even sure he wanted to be in the first place. There were reasons to want to be in that other class. It could be a platform to build the life he wanted, to align himself with certain people. The School of Wizardry was an opportunity for him to meet many people his age. He had never seen so many people of his age group gathered in the same place, with this opportunity to get to know each other. And yet with his mask and his separation to the small class, his opportunities were rapidly dwindling. The whole experience was oppressive and wrought with treachery, an emotional kind of treachery, a constant assertion of authority, rules, condescension, infantilization. It was a kind of complex psychological torture Tapion wasn't even fully aware of. He wanted to excel, to earn the favor of those teachers and classmates who did seem to be paying attention, who seemed like likable role models. Yet these people seemed further and further out of his reach. They too were just struggling to get by in the hierarchical system. It was like every man for himself. Tapion learned about the 10 levels of magic, and yet it seemed as though many of the things he was learning were actually a downgrade from what he had already picked up in the library on his own. Yet he stuck with it. The education system was a powerful industry that provided him access to friends, relationships, tools, and resources, a chance to really apply magic, even though they rarely got around to it. As unsatisfying as it was, he stayed in it for the resources and for the fear, the subtle pressure of wanting his mother to finally see that he could thrive on his own, that he didn't need her protection. The teachers enforced the rules, and everyone else, they were just too busy getting by to notice whether anything was right or wrong. They were so busy just getting through the day. They didn't have time to ask questions about what the education system was doing, whether it was actually helping or not. Tapion brought up this topic with his classmates sometimes. A fellow classmate said, "Don't you feel accomplished when your work is done? Don't you like that feeling? Isn't it worth it? When your parents and your teachers tell you that you've done a good job." It was strange to him, their devotion, their ceaseless devotion, no matter the task, no matter the mundanity of it. His answer was simple: "No, I don't feel good regurgitating information in this subservient kind of life. Their praise does not justify this use of my time." But it was hard to argue with it. There were many different nations and industries that supported this method of education. It was said that the angels themselves supported the wizard education system. The angels, otherwise known as the Annuki, they were radiant beings. They were a highly evolved, winged species, an ancient race. They were the protectors of nirvana since the dawn of time. Tapion was sharing his opinions with a female classmate. They would often dive into these subjects, but she became increasingly irritated that he would even bring this up, that he would dare to question the principles of the education system. No matter what angle Tapion tried, eventually he would get deep enough into the conversation that it would circle back to this: the angels had approved of the education system. They were the arbiters of justice. It had been this way for centuries and longer. This system was modeled on older systems that had been existing for millennia. To become a wizard, otherwise known as a sorcerer, the highest thing a person could wish for. To live a life in service to the Annuki, to be like an angel yourself, to become one of the great protectors of civilization. So finally, he just dropped the subject altogether.